Hello, Ms. Han. Today I'm going to talk about the comparison between the social class of Korea and Japan in the pre-20th century. And this is the table of content. Firstly, Japan's Edo period started in the year of 16,000 and ended in 1868. Shogun, who was Japanese general in the military, was the military dictator who had actual ruling power. The emperor at that time acted as the state's figurehead. Under the ruling of Tokugawa shogunate, Japan adopted strict social order and isolationist foreign policy, but there was stable economic and population growth as there was no more war. Secondly, Korea's Joseon period lasted more than 500 years. Strict social order was imposed, for example, regulating family life through legislation to enforce Confucianism rituals. Women's roles and rights were greatly reduced. They were subjected to male dominance. For example, they were isolated at home from the outside world so as to make them pure and obedient. Bloodline also largely limited the social mobility. For the social class structure, Korea and Japan divided their society into four classes separately. Japan, samurai, which refers to the military nobility and officers, had the highest status and absolute power in the society, followed by the farmers, artisans, and merchants. In Korea, the social order went from Yangban class as the highest class to middle class, then followed by commoners and chomin. Yangban in Korean refers to two administrative branches, including Moonban, the civil servants, and Muban, the military officers. Two branches demonstrated how a scholarly official should be in the Korean Confucian idea. So what are the similarities between Japan and Korea's social class? Although Korean and Japanese society were divided into four classes, it can be simplified into two categories: ruling classes and the classes being ruled. In Korea, the Yangban class and middle class had the true power to rule the society. In the early period of Joseon, Yang Chongji only oppressed Chongmin as the lowest class in the society. However, Bang Sanji classified commoner and Chongmin as Sangmin in the mid-late Joseon. In Japan, shogunal samurai called nobility in Tokyo and temple clergy were the upper class. For example, samurai could cut off the head of people from lower class upon their will. Farmers and artisans and merchants were subjected to different laws according to their identity. Moreover, the ruling class in Korea and Japan gradually decreased. In Korea, commoners could take the exam or buy a fake Yangban family tree book to make themselves a fake identity. Wealthy commoners were even rich enough to buy Yangban status later. As the number of Yangban increased, the status and the value of Yangban decreased. Similarly, in Japan, the dividing line between commoners and samurai gradually blurred. The status of samurai became a commodity that commoners could purchase and bestow, which led to the decline of the value of samurai status. Therefore, the similarities were the two general categories in the social structure and the decline value of the upper class in the later period. So there were also differences in two countries' social classes. Samurai represented hereditary hereditary class that was strictly separated from all others in Japan. The cities were divided into separate quarters for samurai and commoners. Samurai were also not supposed to engage in agriculture or trade and were expected to marry within their own class. Different from samurai, Yanban was a position that could be possibly obtained through the state-sponsored civil service exam, although the bloodline still had great influence. For example, economic resources to study. The system did offer an opportunity for social advancement by getting into the government. Besides, Korea and Japan at that time were both countries that relied heavily on agriculture. However, the status given to peasants were different between two countries, despite the fact that farmers provided major income for the government through taxation. Farmers were positioned in commoners class, which was the third in the Korean society. They preferred civil servants who had technical skills like accountants and physicians as the upper class. Japan valued farmers and ranked them as the second after samurai because they believed farmers who paid the major taxation who were the foundation of the state. Kokumin, the people who sustain the state in Japanese, was used to describe farmers. Also, land-owning farmers were absorbed in a higher institute to manage villages. Therefore, Korea and Japan treated the upper class and lower class differently. In conclusion, in the pre-20th century, Korea and Japan had strict social order due to tightened structure of the social class. The boundaries between each class were clearly drawn, which defined each one's role in the society. There were great limitations on personal development. Although the social class in Joseon period and in Edo period no longer exists, some of the concepts were kept and transformed hiddenly, affecting Korean and Japanese social structure today. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.